guys, what's up? It's Paige. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about holistic anxiety relief. I'm going to be giving you my tips and tricks on how I deal with anxiety, and hopefully by the end of this video you will be able to have some new tips and tricks to help you with anxiety when it's in your life. But first, if you're new here, my name is Paige, and on this channel we talk about all things self-healing, self-development, self-growth. We also talk about tarot cards and do tarot readings on here, and consciousness, spirituality, sorts of things like that. If you're interested in content like that, make sure you subscribe and hit the little bell so you get notified when I post a video. The reason I decided to make this video is because in the past few days I experienced anxiety more than I have in a long time. I feel like I was really proud of myself because I was able to release and kind of transmute this anxious feeling, which I just can't even explain how beneficial that was to experience kind of the full circle of, seeing the anxiety happen, dealing with it, feeling all that it has to bring to me, and then, letting it move through the cycle and leave me so I can be back to normal. I do talk about the experience that I just had in my latest blog post, so make sure you check that out if you're interested in kind of getting a little bit deeper. It is linked down below as always. Yes, it was just really a full circle moment for me, and I figured that I've really conquered anxiety to the point where I definitely feel qualified to share a few tips with people because they've helped me so significantly. So, first tip that I'd have to give is implement self-care regularly into your daily routine. I absolutely mean it. It is so important that you take care of yourself on a daily basis. Anxiety can build up over time, and that's just stress. That leads to more and more health problems. So, take the anxiety as a little nudge to say, hey, something about this situation needs more of your attention. For example, on Christmas Eve, I decided to wake up a couple hours early just because I knew I was going to have to deal with things that might make me anxious on that day. I'm so grateful I did so because a couple hours into my day, I got a phone call about one of my family members having a heart attack. That's what started this whole spiral, I wasn't doing anything to really get myself involved in this anxiety. I was trying to take care of myself. Like I said, thank the universe that I decided to get up and do what I normally do and take care of myself that day instead of just pushing it on the back burner like I could have. Because my schedule was a little bit busier that day. It could have been really easy for me to be like, no, it's okay, but I made myself a priority. I made how I felt a priority, and that made a huge difference. That leads me to my next tip, which is all about being able to feel your emotions, to process them, to really just allow them to be. I felt anxious in the past. It really felt like a flight or fight kind of moment where I'd either run and try to do a billion things to distract myself, or I couldn't move. I would freeze and I couldn't process anything. I wouldn't let myself breathe. I just kept thinking these anxious thoughts. That's where it's important to feel the emotion, because the more that you are putting your head into it and you're trying to figure it out and figure out, why do I feel like this? Is it okay that I feel like this? What does it mean if I feel like this? Is it ever gonna go away? That kind of puts a lot more pressure on you. I don't think any person in a stress situation needs that. So in those moments, I just accepted defeat in a way. It's not actually defeat, because that's how you bring yourself out of those kind of emotions, is allow yourself to feel them. Allow yourself to just be hit with this wave of whatever. And for me, I just immediately started crying really, 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 really hard. And I didn't question it. I didn't fight it either. I wasn't trying to hold back tears, because what good would that do? My body needed to release something, i.e. tears, and I just allowed that. But every step that I took to allow myself to do the things that I wanted to do, that I needed to do in that moment, leading myself on a higher path towards being less anxious, raising my vibration, being more in my truth, just feeling better. Next tip for relieving anxiety is to reassess your boundaries and where you are placing your energies. This is something that you should do on the daily. Honestly, you should really be conscious about what you're doing and be intentional about it too. Just make sure that you know that you're doing something to benefit you in a way that does benefit you and that doesn't deplete you, because you can give to so many people and it didn't have an impact on you in a perfect world. If your cup, your emotional self, your soul is not full, it's not ready and prepared and taken care of, then how in the world are you going to be able to give to other people without depleting yourself of your own energy, your own goodness, your own light? That's why it's important to reassess boundaries, especially when you're anxious. Don't spread yourself so thin just because you think you have to. Really truly look at situations and see okay, do I have to do this? Because if that's the case, you can alter your perspective on it and try to make yourself lighten that load in a different way. But if you can truly lighten your load and just write things off that really don't need to be on your plate at that moment of anxiety. Trust me, it will be so helpful for you. I promise you it'll be so helpful because that extra energy can go back to focusing on you and helping you heal. Next tip on dealing with anxiety is a lot more of an external thing. It's utilizing your resources that you have. I know that for me personally, THC or CBD, depending on the strain, can be really, really, really helpful when I'm anxious. In serious parts of my life where I would get so anxious I couldn't eat, literally had no other choice but to turn to using CBD and THC to calm me down, so I was able to like rest, digest, eat my food, be a person, because I was so anxious all the time. I was making myself nauseous from the stress and from the anxiety. So the beautiful thing about CBD and like medical marijuana is that yes, it is holistic. It does have a connection between your mind, body, spirit in this world. And that to me is huge, because a lot of the time when I get anxious, I am so not connected to myself. I don't understand my connectedness, because you drop vibrations, you get into this state where it's like tunnel vision in a way. Being able to really assess myself is huge. I can't get to that place mentally on my own. I do reach out and use medical marijuana to help me in moments of anxiety. But even on top of that, yoga, breath work, crystals, I know what kind of stuff you guys use for external help when it comes to anxiety down below. I'm sure that there are plenty more external resources that you can use to help with anxiety that are holistic and non-habit forming. Another tip, and honestly the most important I think, is to be open and talk about it. Share what you're experiencing with other people. Every single person in this world has somebody that cares for them and supports them and loves them, who's willing to listen. So lean on those people in those times of need. That's what they're there for. That's what a friend, a loved one truly is. So for me, being able to lean on those people in moments that I feel despair and just not okay to do things on my own has been so rewarding and so helpful, and just enabled so much more growth in me, because I can feel the love, the support, the appreciation that I know that I have within myself and that is in the world around me. But at times, especially when you're anxious, it's just not in the forefront. You just cannot see it, you can't feel it. So having somebody else be able to kind of level your energy out in a way is extremely, extremely beneficial. Plus it also helps to pick your mind a little bit and figure out where your stories and facts may not be adding up, areas where you might be overthinking, and that when I share, I genuinely can start to pinpoint the emotions and where they're coming from and why I'm feeling them, and also the areas that I'm kind of feeding into them a lot. So like I said, it is really, really helpful to be able to express yourself and kind of just get things out. Last but not least, the final tip I have for you guys is to use loving and positive affirmations. Inward, you can say them out loud, but to me, I find a lot of the time when I'm going to experience things that I know I don't really have much control over, as much as I've done all of the other things, it is so important that you're still being kind to yourself, that you're still expressing love, and you're still finding the light that is still within that dark situation, because there's always light in the dark. For example, on my way to the hospital yesterday, I was extremely nervous, I was very emotional, but I kept telling myself, I am safe. I experience every situation for my highest good. I love myself. My loved ones and I are divinely protected. I'm safe to experience my emotions and feelings as they are. There's dozens of others that I could just come up with on a whim, because I do practice self-love and self-care on the daily. So moments of despair like this don't hit me so hard, because I'm prepared for them. Do the work on the daily to make sure that I am in a place that allows me to see the light when there is dark. Because as I got into on my blog post that I was talking about earlier, I've experienced points in my life where I've experienced loss, anxiety, heartbreak on such a depth that made me see no light for a while, for years at a time. So make sure that you are allowing yourself to see the duality in life, to see the light and the dark, the contrast and the goodness that comes out of that contrast. But yeah, guys, that's what I have for today's video on your holistic anxiety relief. So I really hope that this helped you guys. If you like this video or didn't like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up or down, whatever you gotta do. And of course, comment down below if you have any helpful tips for anxiety relief. Like I said, I know that there are so many different ways that people can choose to cope with this, and I might as well use this community to share helpful tips and hacks to dealing with anxiety, because we're all human. We all have felt it before. You are not alone. You're never alone. So I'm really happy that I could share this with you. And honestly, the fact that I'm able to share this experience with you guys after the kind of experience I had the other day really really just shows how full circle things can truly come if you allow them to, and that you are your own light. You truly will guide yourself out of it if you allow yourself to. Like I said, make sure you check out that blog post and my Instagram account, all linked down below. I'd love to hang out with you guys on those other apps, so hopefully I will see you there, but otherwise I will see you guys in a later video. Bye for now.